Hello there, I am Commander Srikant, veteran from Indian Navy. I have been in the consulting business for the last 17 years after my retirement. One of the questions which normally comes out is, why do you ask the introduce yourself to people who come for interview? You must understand that when this question is asked, what is running in the interviewer's mind? Basically, it is to understand the family background and how you have looked at yourself in the whole process of moving from, let us say, a small boy to a man and coming for an interview. For example, what are the key points? I always look at how you handle the whole family affair, how you introduce your parents, how do you talk about your siblings, and what is it that I am looking at? I am not looking at whether your father was a millionaire or he was doing a very ordinary job, but basically I am looking at what is it that is making you, what is the driving force in you. Let us say you come from a humble background and you tell me that my father was so and so and he encouraged me, all he told me was do well in your exams and grow up, and that is how I have completed my engineering or MCA, BCA, whatever it is. It gives me an idea that you are a go-getter. Similarly, you may come from a very affluent family and then you talk very good of your father, it means your upbringing is excellent. That is what one looks at when you say introduce yourself. And also it tells me that what is your psychology. Now there are cases, if you look at Tatas or for example military, you never take people from IITs, you always take from tier 2 colleges, because what you are looking there is a sound, harsh and a very robust psychological behavior, so that you can face challenges in your work. Lot of people ask me, is there a tier 2, tier 3 college scope for getting a good job? I always say yes. Why? What is it that makes the difference from a tier 1 to tier 2? It is basically a small thing called salary. I personally feel nobody should negotiate for salary in the first job. The moment an individual says, you need to pay me X amount for me to join, I will never select him, because the first job is always a learning job. You are fresh from the college, what you know is only the basic background. Application of that background is missing, and that is learnt in the first job. Therefore, in the first job, if any person negotiating for salary is no, we always believe in three things: pay for the person, if he has got the knowledge, certainly; pay for the position, and then pay for the performance. Here the last one, pay for the performance, is missing because he is the first job. Therefore, there are only two pays that are there. Therefore, negotiation is certainly not an advantage. A lot of people ask me, would you like to select a person with plus 70% aggregate score? Is academic performance a criteria for selection? My answer is, to some extent yes, but not always. If you look at 50-60% people today, they are coming and doing a startup. Why does this happen? Purely this happens as what we call as aversion to risk. A person who studies hard, who is able to get marks by just practicing the same question over and over again, fine tuning, and has got a very good memory, is likely to score very high. His fundamentals may be weak, he is averse to taking risk. He would like to see the previous question papers, prepare himself to what is likely to be asked. Whereas you take a man who is just scoring 50-60, he is averse, he is not at all averse to taking risk. He is a go-getter, he likes challenges. Therefore, you find today people with 50-60%, they come out, they don't get into the fixed box of I get a full marks, I get a job which gives me a safe job and a high salary. He would like to be outside and come out of the box, think out of the box and become a startup person. More often than not, many people ask me, sir, do I need to prepare for an interview? Should I go through the classes? Should I be groomed? I always say, to some extent yes, but not really. What is it that grooming should be limited to? Grooming should be limited to something like the etiquettes of interview, when to speak, when not to speak, how to greet the people on the interview panel, how to make an entry into the interview room. These are the things which need to be groomed, but not the answers. You find a lot of people, they go through this interview grooming and their mind is prepared for certain questions, and whatever may be the question from the interviewer, they try to fit that answer into it. When they are doing it, many a times I can make out during my own sessions of taking interviews, I ask one little deviation and they are zapped, they won't be able to answer. Had they been very natural, always when you are very natural, you tend to speak the truth, and that is always the best. Therefore, my take is, groom them on certain etiquettes, but never give them the answers which are tailor made to some question that are most likely. A lot of people also ask me, why do you keep looking at the resume when it is in front of you? You keep glancing it. Basically, we must understand how the resume, what is it that is conveying. Yes, there are facts. What is your education qualification and various things address, how you have studied, what was your aggregate. I am not looking at that. I am looking at basically how well it is structured, what are the English nuances that are there. The biggest turn off is today bad English, very bad syntaxes, spelling errors. Today what has happened, if you look at the various surveys, we have lot of graduates coming out in various disciplines, but they are non-employable because they cannot speak. The spoken and the written English is very bad, or what we call as power of command. Until the power of command is good, they will not succeed. Take an engineering job. The individual may be working on various drawings, but then there is an engineering report that needs to be made. A presentation is to be made either within his company or to the client. If you are unable to make it, how do you succeed in life? How do you move up in life if you cannot convey what is right, what is wrong? That is the biggest thing today. Therefore, in a CV, I always, if I find, let us say, an English error, it is a big turn off. Well, all I would like to tell the youngsters who are appearing for their first interview is all the very best. Get out of your nervousness. There is no one straight answer or a one straight mantra to take you higher. You will have to be highly adaptive to meet the requirements of the interviewer. Each interviewer has his own skill sets, his own requirements based on his company and his experience. All the very best. Do well. Don't ever get worried. Thank you.